Hi, I'm Elijah Bain. I'm a student here at MTSU. And if you've been able to see the videos, then you'll know that the city that we'll be working in is Huntsville. And that's because that's where I live, or I live right outside of there in Lincoln County, which we will also venture into today. And so there was just some basic information that I wanted to look over before I really began getting into the project. Okay, so as I said, it starts in Huntsville. The 5.6 commission is the average commission for the area, so that's what was chosen. And then I created a successful monthly budget for myself and for the company, and I did this over 3 years. And of course, we have the market rising during that period, which was helpful, as you may have seen in the other videos. Okay. Sorry, clicker. It's not working there. Okay. So same format. This time the objective is a little bit different. We had a minor investor who invested $10 million. When you get on the Excel document, you'll be able to see the exact numbers that were used. But what I decided to do as far as managing that 10 million in real estate was to go with rental properties. So game plan, pretty simple and straightforward. We buy houses, we rent them out, and then I'm going to do the maintenance myself, hopefully. I should be able to cover all that. Currently, I'm already involved in construction. I do a lot of handiwork, so shouldn't really be too much to ask to use those skills that I already have to do this job. So the growth plan occurs in the next year. So where we started was with that 10 million, and we put them into 50 houses. I averaged about 200,000 a house between the extra cheap ones and the little bit more expensive ones, and accounting for what it would probably cost to fix it up. Just having known the region as long as I have, and getting involved and interested in doing this. 200 a house is not that far off. So that would be 50 houses for that 10 million. And so the numbers are based off of that. And then if you borrow against the houses that you have, in this case, I chose a $2 million loan. We came out with a 2.79 interest. And there's some sources in the Excel file that will show you where that number came from. That's going to be a monthly payment, though, from the bank of almost $11,000, which is definitely doable because we're making a hefty sum in rent. So I looked up a bunch of the rents in the area that we'll be dealing with, and you can see the distribution, how some houses, how some regions are going to have higher rents than others, and so those regions were more heavily invested in. So in the first year, we're looking at a roughly $36,000 paycheck for me, and in the second year, it turns into about $44,000. So dramatic increase, and so every few years we would be doing a bigger loan and borrowing, against what we've paid off, and more of those houses would be added on. So right now in the fifth year, there would be 60 houses, gone up from 50, and that trend would be able to continue. And so eventually assistance would be required. So as I mentioned earlier, the income is pretty low, right? It starts at $36,500. which is not much, but in 1 year from there, it goes up to 44. So it wouldn't be too much longer before I could hire some part-time help, and then of course full-time help as necessary. There's a very clear path, very sustainable, as long as we're careful with how much we borrow against how much we invest. There isn't a whole lot of risk, unlike, say, the stock market, for example. Even if the housing cost does go up, it's not quite as risky with the plan that I have set out in the Excel document versus, say, stocks. So it is a good, clear path. And if I had these $10 million in real life, I would probably do a very similar path. So that's the end of the slide, and I hope that you enjoyed watching. Have a